It has been a long time since I have made a YouTube video, but I decided today is as good as any to go ahead and get started making YouTube videos again. So if you are returning to my channel, I thank you for coming back. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Malika. This is Malika on the Move. And I am a retired nurse. I'm a military veteran, a solo traveler, and an expat. So what has been going on with me since I made my last video? Well, I am not in Thailand anymore. And that is not because I didn't like Thailand, because I really did love Thailand. I will tell you why. It's because I needed to go back home rather immediately to handle an emergency situation that I didn't know how that was going to turn out. So it just didn't make sense for me to go back to Thailand. I didn't know how long I was gonna have to be in the States. And also, one thing, and I want to talk about this for people who are solo travelers that may decide to go to locations very, very far from the U.S. And I'm going to tell you, when I thought about leaving the U.S. and I sold all my possessions and I moved all the way to Bangkok, I didn't think about this. This was not something that was on my list of things to think about or worry about. You know, I wanted somewhere that was very affordable, modern, had, you know, very walkable, or very easy to get around without a vehicle, and had excellent health care and, you know, very safe. But the one thing that I did not think about, being a solo traveler that far away from home, and that also applies to people who are like single parents and they have their children with them, male or female, is that if something were to happen to me, like if I were ill and had to go into the hospital, or I had an accident or needed some type of surgery or something, it may or may not be easy for your family to get to you. And as a nurse, I know how important it is to have a support system there to advocate for you if you're in the hospital, especially if you're unconscious, or, you know, you're groggy after a surgery, or, you know, whatever the case is. I've seen way too many cases in the American version of the Thai news of family members having to do GoFundMes to just be able to afford a plane ticket to be able to hurry and go to Thailand, or families where only one of the parents can go see about their child that's overseas because of work. You can't just drop everything and leave and go, you know, to a new country and may have to stay there for weeks or even a month or so. So that was one of the things that, like I said, I did not consider, but I did after one of my family members mentioned it to me. They were like, you know, Malika, we're not going to be able to get to you that soon or at all if something were to happen to you. And also because there was such a very serious emergency that I needed to leave immediately to go home to handle, the cost of getting a last minute plane ticket to go all the way back to the United States, and the time. I mean, Thailand is like almost a 30-hour travel time and a 12-hour time difference to get back to the States. You know, it just didn't really make sense to me in the long run. So I would encourage you to consider that. I mean, if you go overseas far away and you're a single parent, what if something happens to you? You get in an accident, or you have a medical emergency and have to go in the hospital. Who's going to look after your children? while you're there, if you don't have a support system there in place. And that means somebody that you trust. That's something I would definitely keep in mind if you plan on leaving the US and going to a far location where you may need someone to be there to advocate for you, but maybe they don't have a passport. Maybe they can't get off of work, or maybe they don't have the money to just drop everything and jump on a plane last minute and go all the way to Southeast Asia or somewhere on that part of the world. So I was in the US 2 months, maybe 2 months and a couple days. And man, I can honestly admit that it was a big shock. I was only in Thailand a little over a year and a half, but just in that year and a half, I forgot how expensive things were in the US. I mean, the food was outrageous. Nobody should have to pay that kind of money to eat. And it seems like the prices had went even higher than what I remember from when I visited back in the beginning of the year. And then also, because I sold my vehicle, I had to rent a car. And I'm not gonna lie, I was paying $1,200 a month for those 2 months that I was there. And that is with an employee family discount, okay, of I think 45% off of the regular rates. That's insane. To me, that's like a brand new BMW car note, okay? And that was like for a Honda Accord or a Honda Civic or something that I was renting. I wasn't renting, a luxury vehicle. So I was ready to get up out of there. It got to the point that I felt that I was actually getting depressed. And as much as I loved being around my family members and one of my children, I was ready to go. Where am I now? Because I'm not in the US. But on a side note, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would like you to do so, and you can always hit that notification bell so you'll know when I upload future videos, and you can hit that like button and share the channel with your friends if you feel so inclined to do so. And please excuse me, I'm very congested. I'm not really adjusting well to the climate. It's not the climate. I think it's all of the greenery and just, my allergies and whatnot, but I am so clogged up, it is ridiculous. But anyway, I have relocated to Mexico, specifically Merida, Mexico. And it is on the Yucatan Peninsula. It's probably, I think, maybe 4 hours away from Cancun, so it's on that little piece of Mexico that sits over in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, first let me say that a lot of what you hear in the news about Mexico is just propaganda or media hype. There are places that are extremely safe, filled with expats. It's not all, people are running around with machine guns just killing people on the street. Now, I'm sure there's some locations like that, but there are quite a few very safe locations in Mexico that you can relocate to, whether it's on the West Coast by California, whether it's in the middle of the state of Mexico, the country of Mexico, in Mexico City, or whether you're up on the Yucatan Peninsula in Merida, like I am. So Merida has been voted and is very well known to be, for quite a long time, one of the most safest locations, if not the safest location, to be in Mexico. They don't play that in Merida. And whatever crime may be here is little petty stuff like property thefts. If maybe a bicycle was stolen or things like that. But there's really not too many worries in Merida. You don't have to worry about being kidnapped in a taxi and, cartels jumping out and just gunning down everybody. That's not an issue here. It's a very safe city. It is modern, depending on what your definition of modern is, okay? And we'll talk about all that in future videos. Yeah, and it has good health care and affordable health care. Now, it is a little pricey. It's not like you think Mexico is dirt cheap, because it ain't. At least in this area, this is one of the more costlier locations. But what you get for your money is the trade-off. You get a lot for your money here in terms of like housing and things. So I don't want to keep you long. I just wanted to say hello, I'm back, and also to let you know where my channel is heading for the future, which will be all about my transition to Merida and just my life here in Merida. Hopefully I can show you some great sites, and I can give you some tips on my experience, what I did in the process for me to get here and to get settled. Now, I will say this, there are some wonderful content creators here in Merida, and I encourage you to not just look at one, but to look at several, because we all have our own unique perspective and we all have our own unique experiences of the same process that everybody may go through. But it's just different and unique to each person. So that way you can take a little bit here and there as you go along and formulate your own opinion. But yeah, there's quite a few very good content creators here that I follow as well. Just keep that in mind. You know, you don't want to take one person's experience, good or bad, for it be written in stone. So with that said, I hope that you return to my channel. Like I said, you can hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload another video. And until we meet again, you guys keep moving. I will see you later. Bye, y'all.